Welcome to Hamburgers and Horror, the home of meat, monsters, and mind-bending Lovecraftian entities. I'm Noah Hook, and today we're looking at Ash. This 2025 sci-fi horror follows an astronaut who awakens aboard a station on a strange new planet with all of her crew mysteriously slaughtered. Suffering from amnesia and paranoia, she can't decide whether or not to trust a man who claims he knows her and was sent to rescue her. Hey y'all, before I jump into this review, I just wanted to give a quick few updates about things going on with the channel. As some of you may have noticed, I'm on a new set. It's not too different from what I had previously, but we're in a new house now, a new room I'm filming in, and I've got some of my new things up and about that are fun to have. One particular item is this very fun skeleton piggy bank. Check this little guy out. It's like straight up iron, so it is really dense and heavy, and look, it catches money. Look at those eyeballs. And as some of you probably know from the posts I've been making recently, Netflix put a copyright block on my Texas Chainsaw 2022 video, so I'm currently disputing that, and it might take up to 30 days for it to get reviewed, so it could be at least that long before that video can come out. I'm also working on a ranking video for the Texas Chainsaw franchise, but it doesn't make sense to release that video before I release the review of the last film in the franchise. So I want to wait until that gets fixed before I submit that. So I didn't want to leave y'all hanging for over a month with no video, so I decided to review a couple new movies in the meantime. And that's what brings us to our video today, where I'm reviewing Ash. It seemed like a fun option. I had just recently watched it anyway, so figured it'd be a perfect film to slot in here. That being said, it's a very new film. It only came out a couple months ago and it just hit streaming, so if you haven't seen it, I recommend going to watch the film, as I will be getting into some spoilery territory, especially in the second half of the video. Alright, let's get back to the review now. Ash was directed by American record producer, DJ, filmmaker, and rapper extraordinaire Flying Lotus. He's worked all over various genres, perhaps most notably directing Kuso and a sequence in VHS 99. The screenplay was written by Johnny Remler, who from what I can tell primarily works on German TV shows. The film has a small cast with Eiza Gonzalez of Baby Driver and Alita Battle Angel, and Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and Need for Speed primarily anchoring the story. And perhaps more than anything, Ash is an audible and visual feast. Every single shot in this movie is lush with vibrant color and style. Cinematography was handled by Richard Bluck of What We Do in the Shadows and Black Sheep, that's a very fun one, and Flying Lotus took on the role of composing the score. Ash premiered on Prime Video in March of 2025, and it was met with mixed reviews. Fans especially enjoyed its visual flair, its clear love for a bunch of different sci-fi films and video games, and its simple, straight-to-the-point premise. But others felt that the simple premise dragged on too much, never quite living up to all of the great films that it was paying homage to. I'll start my own thoughts by acknowledging the very familiar nature of the story setting and characters. There are a lot of narrative and stylistic similarities to Alien, Prometheus, Event Horizon, The Thing, Star Wars, Blade Runner, Resident Evil, Dead Space, Doom, Halo, and other outer space body horror type mysteries. This is generally a batch of media I really love, so I was really excited to see Flying Lotus's take on it. It really does feel like one big long cutscene from a horror sci-fi video game. There's a lot of flashbacks through both memories and camera footage. A lot of POV shots used through different cameras, like through the helmets as well, and then a lot of flashbacks and hallucinations that function as jump scares as well. And the trope of the amnesiac protagonist that doesn't quite know what's going on is also super prevalent in horror games, as well as movies based on those games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. There's also a lot of dialogue-driven scenes between Paul and Gonzalez where they're talking about big, lofty ideas about aliens and our own existence, as well as ideas of what they need to do next that feel really reminiscent of scenes in video games where you have to decide as the player how to move forward in the story. But one downside of these elements is that the first 2/3 of this film kind of play out like the first 2 hours you're playing a video game, where you're still really learning the ropes of the world and getting a sense of the environment. The plot early on is really objective based, like, oh shit, a vent is broken, so we have bad air quality, let's go fix it. It's fun to do in a video game, it's a little less fun to watch in a movie. Almost all of the action in the first 2/3 of the film takes place through flashbacks, and they do work well to give us snippets of what's going to happen in the finale and build that dread and excitement, but it does leave the story in the present being really slow and kind of boring at times. It's a lot of watching Paul and Gonzalez argue, ooh bam, scary flashback, and then back to the slow, kind of boring argument. But that being said, there are a few really great fight, horror, action sequences throughout. When the movie decides to pick up the pace, it really does excel at it. And in the last 20 minutes or so, it does really pick up. So you get a lot of that action and body horror that you're teased throughout. Okay, so now I'm about to get into some real spoilery stuff. So if what I've said so far sounds intriguing to you, I recommend stopping the video now and giving Ash a watch, and then maybe coming back later. But if you don't care about spoilers or if you've already seen the film, feel free to continue. So let's talk about that fucking alien parasite. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the parasite's design was really interesting and unique. I like that it kind of bridges body horror with really Lovecraftian, more mind-based creatures as well. And I especially love the scene where it's telepathically speaking to Raya. The creature enters the human body through some kind of orifice, whether it be mouth, ear, or superficial wound. It essentially becomes the body's pilot, taking over the mind and body of the vessel it has entered. It can function pretty incognito, causing the host to hallucinate and trick the host into doing what it wants, or it can go full on the thing and sprout tentacles and split its face open for all kinds of body horror action. One by one, it would take over a single crew member, either attacking the others or forcing them to kill the host and allowing it to switch bodies into someone else. It managed to take out the 3 men in the group until only Raya was left inside the ship and Clark fled to the outside. The creature is the reason that she's hallucinating Brian throughout the story, despite the fact that he died days before we even enter the picture. And it causes her to envision Clark as infected when she does return, resulting in her murder. I am a bit confused on the creature's ability to control its host, as Raya is clearly able to exert some of her own will, whereas all the boys are turned into straight up murdering monsters. I guess it has something to do with the host deciding it wants her to be its new long-term vessel, but the rules of it all are very murky and unexplored. But generally, I think the amnesia, mindfuck twists that take place throughout work pretty well, although it was all familiar enough that I was able to kind of clock what was going on pretty early. And while I enjoyed a lot of what was happening on screen, especially the really amazing visuals, I found that Ash rarely transcended beyond the films, games, and other media that it was clearly paying homage to. It spends a long time building presence with cool atmospheric shots and great visual effects, almost to the point where it's trying to impress the audience and leave us in so much awe of its incredible technical quality that we overlook the simple story. Hell, it even had a montage of all the dead characters at the end of the movie, despite the fact that they were really one-note, bare-bones characters we spent almost no time with. Showing us another clip of them at the end is not going to suddenly convince me that I was emotionally impacted when Flying Lotus killed a character played by himself with a flying space rock. But all in all, I did enjoy Ash. It is a bit overly familiar and chock full of sci-fi tropes, but all of the incredible technical qualities really do help to pick up a lot of the slack. It's visually stunning, has a great John Carpenter-inspired score, and showcases some seriously cool creature effects and body horror. The story definitely doesn't live up to the grandiose look that the film has, resulting in a bit of a style over substance final quality, but I definitely still think it's a film worth checking out, especially if you love sci-fi horror or anything Lovecraftian. Well, that's about it. Have any of y'all seen Ash? And if so, what did you think of it? Be sure to share your thoughts down below. And while you're at it, do you have any other either sci-fi, Lovecraftian type horror movies you think I should check out? Anything along the lines of like The Thing, Event Horizon, hell, even like Resident Evil, which isn't really in that genre, but things of that nature, anything like that you think I'd have fun with, please share them down below. Hopefully my review of Texas Chainsaw 2022 will be able to come out soon, but if not, I might do another new movie or two, we'll see. So be sure to tune in at least 2 weeks when I review something. Thank you all so much for joining me, and an extra thank you to my patrons. As always, I'm Noah Hook, and thanks for watching Hamburgers and Horror. Stay safe out there. Thanks for watching my review of Ash. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all my horror reviews. And if you want to help support the channel further, you should check out my Patreon account. You'll be able to vote for future movies and franchises I cover on the channel. Thanks y'all.